Hey everyone, Tom Gentile. Welcome to Tom's Trading Room. I want to speak about earnings effects. This is something we do every quarter. I want to do a short video on how I go through earnings effects and what I'm looking for when it comes to stocks as we get to the earnings season. So in order to do that, we're going to hop on over to our tools package. And as you can see here, I'm looking at what I call earnings effects. All right, I want to see how earnings are affected when we're looking at the stock itself. So at this point, what I want to do is I'm in an area called earnings effects. We get there by going to stocks, going to stock analysis, and then coming on down and clicking on earnings effects. So you see this in front of your screen right now. Now what I do is I want to look at a couple of different things, all right? I want to look at price and I want to look at volatility. I want to see what price is doing before earnings. So I'm going to look at all the pennies and weekly stocks. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and look to the next 14 days. So over the next 14 days, I want to see the stocks that are popping up that are in my penny and weekly file. And of those stocks, which ones have the best change before earnings? Those could be negative changes, and those could also be positive changes. And what I'm looking for here is a pattern. So let's scroll down and see what we're talking about here. All right, so in this case, let's squeeze this in a little bit. And you can see as we go through, the charts or the rows I'm most interested in, obviously stocks and the stock itself. But if you come on over here where it says median percent change, all right, this shows me that on average over the last 4 quarters, Anadarko Petroleum has moved an average of 4.46% before earnings. All right, now we know a lot of these stocks are going to move after earnings, but I'm trying to find the ones that are likely to move before the earnings announcement. And I'm also looking for patterns where we see all positives or all negatives. Now, take a look here. Here's Consol Energy. Consol Energy, it moves 4.30%, but notice every quarter for the last 4 quarters, it's moved up prior to earnings. So that may be one that may be a good bullish opportunity to go in before the earnings announcement. Here's another one, Under Armour. Again, 3.81% on average, but the last 4 quarters, 2%, 5%, 3%, 4% before the earnings announcement. Let me show you one that is terrible that could also be looked at too, and that would be come down to Sprint Nextel. So Sprint Nextel has moved an average of 9%. And that's all been negative moves, not -5, -8, -11, -15. Again, all before the earnings announcement. So you get an idea of what I'm looking for here. Now, the next thing I can do is let's take these 3. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to clear everything out, and I want to check mark 1, 2. Just going to look at these 3. Now, let's take those 3. And let's replace that my stock list. So now whatever was in my stock list, I don't care about right now. Right now, I only have 3 stocks in my stock list. So I want to go and now change. Instead of looking at that big penny weekly list, I want to look at my stock list. Remember, it has those 3 stocks in it. But what I want to see is what those 3 stocks are doing in terms of implied volatility before earnings. So this won't take long at all. 3 stocks. And what we see is that, look at Sprint. Jumps an average of 30% before earnings in terms of implied volatility. Under Armour jumps an average of 20%. Consol Energy only 2. So what is this telling me? It tells me this. I have got a potential bullish and bearish trade going into earnings. All right, in terms of what I want to be buying, maybe I want to look at buying puts on Sprint Nextel. Maybe I want to look at buying calls on Under Armour. But what I've done is I've clearly found a pattern where Sprint Nextel's price tends to go down into earnings and Under Armour tends to go up. And I can look at those charts of each, and they can give me some more information on those particular charts. Or what I could do is I could just simply click on a picture right within the area here. See it goes down into earnings the week prior to earnings. That's good information to know. How about Under Armour? What's its picture look like before earnings? It tends to go, in this case it went sideways, but the last 4 earnings, it's actually moved slightly higher. All right? So these are the things that I'm looking at as we move into earnings. Number 1, what's the price doing before earnings? Number 2, what's the implied volatility doing before earnings? And it gives me a safer way to go into the options so long as my exit date is going to be right before the announcement. Hope you enjoyed this, guys, and you can find this and other videos available right at www.tomsoptiontools.com. Have a great day.